Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. And welcome people, welcome to another blast of English. Yes, we're here, we're back and we're ready for you. Are you ready for us? Yes? Are you certain? Are you sure? Yes? Okay then. In that case, let's make a start. Now, we had a couple of choices for today. We could either get back into the swing of the present perfect, or we could take some time to have a look at some of the vocabulary that we've seen and heard in the last week. I took a vote last night, and the people I asked chose the vocab idea. So democracy in action, people. Vocabulary it is. All right, so what have we got first? Well, before we have a look at what new vocabulary we heard from me and Enid yesterday, let's just see if there's any vocab left over from the songs we heard last week. Well, the last song we looked at was that song where Engelbert was boasting of having something that even Roman Abramovich doesn't have. A bunch of 10 guys who wander about the place looking for attractive women to sing to. And frankly, that's a pretty weird idea. Still, what can you expect from someone who calls himself Engelbert? Okay, well, there's only one piece of vocab here that I think we should look at, the verb I just used, the verb to boast. I said that Engelbert was boasting about something. Now, the verb to boast and the American synonym to brag means to talk about yourself or things that you've done or things that you can do in a certain manner with excessive pride. And this is the verb we use when people are talking about how wonderful they are. If you tell people that you're the best, you're better than everyone else. Gordon Ramsay can cook, but you can cook better. Usain Bolt is quite fast, but you're faster. Serena Williams isn't a bad tennis player, but you're better. Roman Abramovich has got a big boat, but your boat's bigger. These are all examples of you boasting. You're talking about how great you are. You're taking self-confidence to a new galactic level. You're blowing your own trumpet. You're telling people that you're the best. You're boasting. And that's the situation with Engelbert. When he meets Roman, he says, I hear that you've got a boat. My boat's bigger and better than yours. It costs more money. I've got more money than you. And if that wasn't enough, I've also got 10 blokes who follow me around the place playing songs for attractive women. Ha! Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Abramovich. And here's the thing. When people boast, it's not normally very pleasant. It's quite boring listening to people talk about how great they are. So, well, most people try to be humble rather than big-headed. It's nicer to congratulate others, not yourself. Okay, so let's leave Engelbert and his boasts and have a look at something else. Ah, yes, William Broad, the man from Harrow, singing about the fact that his young girlfriend has left him and she's cleaned him out. Now, we know that Billy gave her an engagement ring, which means that they're half married. Before most people get married, they normally get engaged. I mean, I say most people and normally, but to be honest, I'm not sure this is true of most people. Anyway, when I got married, we just got married. We didn't waste our time getting engaged. We knew that we'd found true love. There was no need for us to try half measures. We love each other. This is the sort of true love that you're meant to find in life. This is the sort of love that people write about. This is the sort of love that you see in films. This is the real deal. There is nothing greater than this. So, when you recognize that you found the love of your life, is there any point in getting engaged and then waiting a bit more and then finally getting married? No, of course not. If you find the love of your life, then grab that person with both hands and don't let go. That's what we did. But that's not what Billy did, is it? No, he gave his girlfriend an engagement ring. which presumably means that she also gave him an engagement ring. That's normally what happens when you get engaged. You exchange rings. You exchange engagement rings. Okay, now let's think about the adjective engaged. Can you think of somewhere where you've seen this word? Yes? Yes, that's right. Here. Yes, that's where we see the word, the adjective engaged, mostly in our daily lives, isn't it? Okay, and it comes from the same base. And so, what does it mean? Well, it means that this is occupied, this is taken, this is not free. And that's the same idea that we get with an engagement ring. When you get engaged to someone, when you exchange engagement rings, you're promising to get married to that person. And now you wear a ring to tell other people that you're engaged, you're taken, you're not free. Now, just before we continue with Billy and his premarital problems, think about the other side of the dial on the toilet door. You turn it one way to lock the door and present the word ring, engaged, to the outside world, telling people that there's someone inside. And then, when you want to come out of the toilet, you unlock the door and the dial changes to the word yes. Now the message on the toilet door is vacant, which is just a word which means not occupied, empty, unoccupied, free, not in use, unused, unengaged, open. Okay, so those are the two words we see on the toilet door. But back to Billy and his problems. So he gave his heart, his girlfriend, an engagement ring. He got engaged to his girlfriend. They got engaged. And when they got engaged, their status changed. Now, of course, they're engaged. And that means that now they're not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. No. When two people get engaged, then the words we use for them change. A woman who is engaged to someone is that person's fiancé, which, as we can see, is a word which comes from French. Now, the woman is a fiancé, and what about the man? Well, a man who is engaged is a fiancé. Yes, rather strangely, there's no difference in pronunciation, only in spelling. So, when people become engaged, when they get engaged, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore, but fiancé and fiancée. But unfortunately for Billy, he's not a fiancé any longer, and neither is his fiancée. Well, for all we know, she might be someone else's fiancé, but she's not Billy's fiancé, and that's all that concerns us. If we talk about a relationship going pear-shaped, which is just a British way of saying that something went wrong, or if it goes sideways, if it goes wrong, then when we're talking about boyfriends and girlfriends, then the verb we normally use is the verb to break up. With Billy's girlfriend, fiancé, however, we can use another verb. We can have the phrase to break off the engagement. All that means is that she returned the ring to him and told him that she never wants to see him again. She broke off the engagement. They were together, and now she's decided that she doesn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore. She broke off the relationship. With married couples, again, the vocabulary is slightly different, although we could use the verb to break up with someone as a general verb. When we're talking about relationships, we usually use different verbs when we're talking about people who are married or were married and are now in the process of changing their marital status. When a married couple decide to split up, to break up, then we normally see two stages. First of all, they separate. Okay, and what does the verb to separate mean? Well, to separate just means to make things move apart. Think about when you're baking. Sometimes the recipe says you have to separate the egg white from the egg yolk, for example. Okay, and that means that you take an egg separator, something like this. So that's a type of egg separator. It separates the egg white from the egg yolk. You pour the egg into the separator and the yolk is held in the middle while the egg white runs through and collects in the bowl underneath. So to separate, to pull apart, to take apart, to move apart. When you see a boxing match, you often see that the boxers, especially when they're tired, hang on to each other. They hug each other so that the other fighter can't hit them easily while they catch their breath. When this happens, what does the referee do? Yes, that's right. The referee steps in between the fighters and physically separates them. The referee splits them up. He separates them, as we can see here.
My baby, who is
This referee is the egg separator. I'm not sure which boxer is which one is the egg white and which one is the yolk, but that's not important. All right, back to the married couple who don't want to be a married couple anymore. She's had enough of him and wants to get back together with her old boyfriend. She's been chatting to him on Facebook, and he's had enough of her nagging him all the time, and he wants to buy a bachelor's apartment, buy a sports car, some white shoes, and head off to the disco to pick up younger women. Great! Midlife crisis, and there's another prefix, mid, meaning in the middle of. We know the idea of pre, meaning before. We know the idea of post, meaning after. And now here's another one, mid, meaning in the middle of. Before an exam, you probably have pre-exam nerves. You're nervous, you're scared before the exam starts. Then, possibly in the middle of the exam, you realize that you studied the wrong subject. Your revision was all history, and this exam is maths. So what happens? Well, if it were me, I think I'd have a mid-exam panic attack. And then afterwards, what about the exam? What about after the exam? Well, post-exam depression seems likely, doesn't it? Yes. All right. So the people in our marriage are having a bit of a midlife crisis each. He's having a midlife crisis and she's having a midlife crisis. Two crises. And so they've decided to separate. But they're not satisfied with this half solution. They've decided that they really don't like each other anymore. And so it's time for them to go from being married to being single again. It's time for a divorce. All right, so moving on, because Billy's feeling a bit depressed, a bit low. What did we have next? Oh yes, of course, Adam Ant singing a song about goody two-shoes. Okay. Well, apart from the idea of subtle innuendos, and we all remember subtle, don't we? Yes. Subtle is the opposite of obvious. So Adam was singing about people making subtle innuendos, people suggesting nasty things in a subtle way. And why? Well, because these people don't believe that you are as sweet, pure and innocent as you say you are. You tell them that you don't smoke, and you tell them that you don't drink. And I think we're talking about alcohol here, kids. Nobody's stupid enough not to drink anything. That would be daft. Anyway, you tell everyone that you don't smoke and you don't drink. And two things happen. A, they don't believe you. They think that you're trying to fool them. You're trying to pull the wool over their eyes. You must do something which is bad. Nobody, not even Jesus and his gang, are that good. And B, they say that if you are that good, if you really don't drink, don't smoke, don't do anything like that, then in that case, you're a real square. Yes, that most hurtful of insults. Well, it was when I was younger. If you're old-fashioned, if you're conventional, if you're not hip, you're not street, not down with the kids, then that means that you're a square. The shame, the embarrassment. You're a square, you're not fashionable, you're not cool. Blue ruin? Decidedly blue ruin. I think you'll agree. And on that note, square or not, I think that it's time for us to go. Yes, people, the end of the lesson has arrived, and that means that we're going to have to part. You go that way and I'll go this way. But don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, but tomorrow, obviously. And we'll carry on from where we left off. And you all know what day tomorrow is, don't you? Yes, that's right. It's not Tuesday. So be hip, not square. And I'll see you all tomorrow. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. See you later. Cool kids. Bye.